Welcome to Rangers Radio on the Matchday show, the world's one and only unique live phone-in show for Rangers supporters all over the world. Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hello, good evening, welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox Chair, on the show of this post-mortem of another shocking performance away in Brann in the Europa League. Brann 3, Rangers 0. Is Robert. Evening, Robert.
Evening, Ox. I'd ask how you're doing, mate, but it'd be a silly question.
Just to top it half, mate. No looking for sympathy. I get a stinky of a cold as well. Yeah, what a day.
Oh, what more can you wish for?
No, I know. Lemon sip loyal, mate. Lemon sip loyal. No? Do you want to go first or second, mate? You choose.
I'll go first, mate. I'll get it off my chest.
What a nice chest
Shocking.
you've got. Carry on.
Aye, just since yours is bunged up, mate. Shocking. Overall, all over the park, mate. Absolutely shocking. Lack of communication, lack of belief, lack of leadership. Overall, bullied off the park by another bang average team, Hawks. Honestly, the players, I said it Monday night, tonight was about the players' reaction. If they didn't want to play for Russell Martin, they've now got that done. We've got a new coach, but it's the same old story. Defensive frailties have just ultimately cost us again and again. There's nothing else you can say, mate. Absolute shocking from back to front.
Yeah, there's no one part of that team working, mate. The forwards are great. The centre forward, I think, will ultimately cost Phil his job, but I think he might be in trouble anyway because of where we are. And some of the words I heard yesterday. When you match up the words, which were okay, and you look at the performance, and the boy doesn't look like a player, the boy that made that investment in up front, mate. He's not moved his one job. But I'll start with where I think we went wrong tonight. We started okay without being spectacular. We always looked suspect in the back with individual errors, and then we lose a goal. Pretty much out of nothing. Similarities to Saturday's game, mate. Different side of the park. I was concerned about this team selection because we got two loanees on the left side of the fence, and lo and behold, it was the experienced men at the right side that got it right. Tavernier and Suter got everything right. Where's Tav? What's Suter then? And then they make it so easy for him, and the ball just runs through. I think you believe he miskicks it. And then I've no saw it back, but I'd like to know what the jigger is. I'd like to see it back again to see what happens, and the ball comes in easy finish. Yeah, we done okay, but we still looked frailty. We're not making a lot of chances. We had good play before we scored. Dimitri could have done better with a header. We were knocking the ball about, and I thought, right, okay, we get chances, get it wide. We can get goals in this game, but how little did I know? We lost that goal, first half petered out, and then we never really started the second half. And then a dreadful touch for an appalling Oliver Antman, who apart from one cross in his debut has been very poor for us, maybe an assist at Livingston also. Right? It started for there, Robert. Miscontrolled it, chased him back, gave the foul away, and then the cross coming in, and Wits were going, and then at the cross, Wits for centre halves, then nobody's attacking the ball, no leadership, no quality. I actually got a bit of sympathy for Jack Butland, if I'm honest. I'm not Butland's biggest fan, but I have got a bit of sympathy for him this season. The third goal shows it all, lack of communication, Raskin meant to be Billy Big Bees, and then comes in, takes it off, and actually plays it to the boy. So, the two loanees in the left of defence, I'll take the goal equation. Two loanees in the rest of the defence, learning their trade. Shouldn't be happening in the Rangers first team. Certain Tavernier, everybody comes to the end. James Tavernier will be always be well thought of in my eyes at Rangers Football Club. But he's done. It's done, and it's turning into embarrassment. You know, he can't get about the pitch, he can't pass it. And as Albert says, why is he getting to take everything? It's no happening. Into midfield, John Raskin, I don't believe he wants to be there. And then if you've got that problem and issue there, you're not going to get performances. Another signing, Joe Rothwell, can he play more than 60 minutes? Oh, great signing. The two wide men, Gasman, didn't do a lot tonight. Nice to be shivvy in the first half, made him miskicked it, but didn't offer a lot. But the team's not playing well. He has to play well. And fair play to Billy last night. We sort of did play well 4-4-2. Asgard, for me, wants too much time in the ball and thinks things are going to happen, and then he miskicked it. He had opportunities to make chances and get shots at goal and failed to deliver. And then the glaring thing that's just, if the boy had come out of our academy, there's a young boy we sent to the loan that played at the start of the season, a young centre forward, Robert, help me out. A young boy come on, physical lad. Check his name.
Josh Jennels.
You telling me that guy we spent $8 million on is any better than Josh Jennels?
What does that tell you for the academy
Aye.
and the thought process behind the boys?
Yeah, and then obviously he takes that man off. What should I agree to? He brought on another loanee kid. Yeah?
Yep.
Kid. Yeah, and if you look at the Jiga, you look at Mahome and you look at Moore, if they were playing in their academy with the performance they're churning out, they wouldn't get near the first team. So between Russell Martin and Kevin Felwell, we brought all these guys into the club and we've spent and spent millions of quid, mate. And it's absolutely shocking. And look, I don't want to say this after yesterday's positivity, but for the positivity to continue, Thelwell and his boy are maybe going to clear their desks and disappear, mate. Because this is going to get toxic again because of this. He might not have signed the players, but he brought in the manager that sat down with him and then selected the players and brought them in, and he made the deal. And it's absolutely appalling, the quality that we brought to the club. And we'll be paying decent wages to them, mate. And it's appalling, mate. Robert?
I don't disagree one bit, Ox. I don't disagree at all, mate. From top to bottom, you've got to look at it. And as you say, Felwell, he'll not be out scouting the players. That's the scouting department. So they need to get looked at as well, first and foremost. But he commissions these signings. He's the one that goes, I'll go and make a deal, spending 8 to 10 million on a striker who's played 290 minutes for Everton, leaving his short at left back, having a defence that's all not going to be there next season. All right, Cornelius is an option to buy. Doesn't mean it's going to be taken up. So you've got no defence to build on. You've got a guy in midfield in an engine room, as you say, can't last 60 minutes. And the forward line's not producing enough. Gasman's had his moments. But other than what you've said about Ant-Man, one cross in his first game, an assist against Livy, he's brought nothing to the table. The strikers aren't getting the service. So they're going to get judged on the fact that they're not doing enough because they're not getting the ball. And when they do get it, they're having a loose pass, not holding it up, not in the right places, coming too deep. Overall, mate, it's absolutely shocking. And not one bit of it tonight is on Danny Rowe. Not an absolute jot.
Oh.
As I said at the start of the show, this is on these players. If these players had 1 ounce of pride about them, they never showed it tonight. They've not took responsibility. They've not took leadership. And it's been for weeks, mate. Absolute weeks. Or months, seasons.
Rotten to the core, the leadership group, if it's they talk about if it's Butland, Tavernier, Suter, I don't know who else would be involved in it. They're not up to it, mate. It needs gutted, mate, and then we're back to square one, and then we're gambling, and some of them don't want to move because they'll be on decent salaries. We've got ourselves on that hamster wheel again. What we've done, we bringing Russell Martin in, and Thelwell was involved with that. It's not just his fault, it's a collective, but he's the front man for that department, mate. And he'll sit down and say, right, we need a left back. We'll let the two guys go, using your example. And I think we were all reasonably happy with the money we got. Yeah. Jeffy and young, what's his name? I forgot his name, Brann. So they've left. All right, we can do better. What have we done, mate? We've got them out the door for money, and then we went five steps backwards just in that position. The young boy's not ready. We're not being fair on him. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, he's learning his trade in the Rangers first team. And by the way, he wasn't the worst tonight. Because when you're looking at all the goals come down the other side of the pitch, yeah, so it's just shocking. Right, I'll tell you what we've got, Robert. We've got the manager. And I agree with you, there's nothing on him, but he'll learn a lot tonight.
Oh,
You
I know.
think, what have I done? What have I done? We'll hear from the manager and then we'll get the phone lines up because I imagine a lot of people the same as us, mate. Right? Yeah?
Aye, go for it, mate.
All right, let's hear from our gaffer, Danny Rowe.
Danny, a difficult night tonight. How do you reflect on that game?
Yeah, I think we have high standards in Rangers, and I think today we were not on point there. You see exactly where we are at the moment. I think that game gives me a lot of information. My job is now to find as soon as possible solutions. I have to develop and improve the players. I have to develop and improve the group, and this is what I have to do. This is my job. We faced today a team who were organized, aggressive, did the basics right, and we didn't. But my job tomorrow is lift them again, give them solutions, and be ready on Sunday.
The goals lost tonight too, the manner of some of them, how frustrating was that for you?
Yeah, I think after 3-0 we can speak just about the conceded goals, but I think we have to speak about the full performance of the team, and it was not good enough today. I take this. I think everybody was hoping that we have this start when I'm arrived, but in football you can wish something, but it's reality, and for this I have to work hard with my group, with my players, but I'm totally convinced we can make the turnaround.
You mentioned picking the players back up again. How do you go about doing that in the next few days ahead of obviously Kilmarnock at the weekend?
Yeah, this is our job. I think this is where we are. We want to play football, we are involved in this business, we are part of a big club, and for this we have to understand what is the demanding, and the demanding is winning games.
What did you learn about your team tonight?
Yeah, I learned a lot about individual profiles from players, to see them on the pitch, to see them under pressure, what they can do, what we have to improve. And this is my job now, to find quick solutions.
We saw you at the end go over to the supporters. What was your message to them tonight?
Yeah, at first I apologize for this performance. I think this is always hard that we were so far away from Glasgow to come here, and then they see I saw a 3-0 defeat. I think this is what nobody deserved. I apologize, but I said as well, I will try my best. I will work very hard to bring Rangers back where I have to.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Well, I said very honest, mate, and fair play to him for apologising, yeah. Words are cheap, mate. Actions speak louder than words, but there's nothing on him for being the right, mate. He's obviously learned a lot, yeah.
Aye, 100%. Ox, he's come out, he's been honest, he's called it right down as he sees it. What we all see as well, so not surprising his assessment there. He kept saying the words where we are. That's something I picked up on. And Ox, where we are currently sitting, the live table, has got us bottom in the Europa League. And on performances, that's exactly where we deserve to be. What I like though, as I said, it's up to him now to find big solutions. So he knows that the task at hand, he's not going to shy away from it, I don't think. We'll see it in action, as you say, but it seems like the kind of guy that he'll try and get us resolved quickly. Not a lot of time to do it, with the game's coming round thick and fast, but he'll learn a lot about the play.
Aye, fair comment, Robert. Fair comment, mate, yeah.
Aye, mate, as I said, it's nothing's on him tonight at all. It's all about these players, and he's learned a lot about his players. He said it himself individually, and it's down to them to now find a solution as a management team. They've learned a lot more tonight as a team, as individuals, the management side of it, and they will go away and work on it.
I don't know about the day, mate, because, but right, so that team, how do you change it? So Fernandez is never to be seen. Another signing we brought in along with Martin and Thirlwell. Yeah, he's never to be seen. So he's not going to come in and improve your back line. So what do? You shuffle the deck years, you play Cornelius at left back, which I thought would be the option for the right. And then you've got De Giga back in there who's got a knock tonight. Yeah. So he might not be fit for the weekend. So you're shuffling the deck years in the midfield. What have you got? You've got Diamondi to add to it. But let's be honest, as bad as all the players have been, Diamondi's been one of the worst, so there's no positivity there. You change the front line, would you do? Bring Shamitra and bring Majowski in, who looks as if he's torn a caravan, even in the right, and he's cameo, mate. So it's not just the team or the 11, it's the whole squad, mate. What a mess. The scouting team, the sporting director, the previous manager, all who selected and brought in these players, mate. It's unbelievably bad. Andy Kavanagh, I like the cut of your jib. Make your decisions and cut it quick. Because the trouble is, mate, we cannot let this group of people select our next signings, and we're going to have to bring in, I said 2 first teamers. I think it's going to have to be minimum of 4. And if we get rid of Raskin for the right price, maybe even 6 if we can in January. And that's a lot in January, mate. And maybe not right, but that's how bad our team and squad is, Robert.
Aye, and he's only got the tools he's got to work with until at least January.
Aye.
So he's got to work with what he's got. He's got to find a solution that gets the best out these players as individuals, but as a team as well. And it's hard to judge where you improve. Obviously, defence first and foremost, and you build from there. But the rest of it, you're struggling to try and to figure out how to solve the puzzle. And it's not the first time we've been in this position, Ox. We've sat many shows, figured out how do we fix the puzzle? Where do you start? And as you say, you're shuffling back lines. Do you change formation? Do you bring personnel out? I'd like to see players that haven't been playing a lot of games starting, particularly the domestic games. Bayrami, example, not registered for Europe, play in the league games. Why don't you use him more often in that kind of forward role and maybe in the 10 instead of Asgard? Lyle Cameron, quite like Barron, he'll run, he'll give you effort, maybe a bit of freshness. You've got to find a solution first and fast.
I don't think any of them are the answer. Lyle Cameron, I don't want to judge because we've not seen him a lot, yeah. But Berjami, they wanted him out the club, mate. They just couldn't get him moved on. So we've got my nose off despite my face and them and expect them to come back in. The lonely players that we've got, they're on the beach and it's not even November, mate. Because they're looking for what's going to happen to them when they go back to their clubs in May. I've got myself in some mess, and if anybody thinks it's a good idea to have that number of lone players on the pitch, you've got De Giga, Mikey Moore, Cornelius, Bagahome, all on loan, mate. Nearly half a team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's not functional. It's not functional how you can operate with that. I don't mind the loan system if it works, but see the likes of Magoma, 19, Moore, 18. Are you saying that they two are better options than what we've got in our own team?
They two are
youngsters?
the better options than me and you, mate. And I'm a good player and you know.
Of course, mate, of course. You've still got the touch and the technique.
Aye. I don't need to run, mate. Right, but
No.
Right. See when I pass it to you, the mitre signs the right way up, mate. That's how good I am. Right, so right, but what I'm saying is, mate, it's shocking. It's shocking. And my problem is because it's your club. Some of these people disappear. They'll leave our club, right? They don't care. We're the constant, mate. How can we let that group of people go and select the next lot of recruits, mate? You just can't do it.
No, you can't. And that's what I said to yourself, mate, when we were on the show a couple of weeks ago, was we were talking about the decision. Do we call it quits with Martin when he was still in charge? And we all unanimously said aye. But you then had to trust the 2 guys you're still asking to be removed from their positions to go and find the solution.
But they never this time, right? They never. Let's cut that
No,
one, right?
no, they were taking that for that. That was, you seen how much Kavanagh had involvement. He said it himself, he was in every phone call, every meeting. What other chairman around the clubs around the world would be involved that much if he didn't have doubt about these people. Now, as you say, I like Kavanagh's jib. I like the way he came across it, the interviews he done at the weekend or during the week. Honest, open, held his hands up. But if you're in every single meeting, that suggests to me you've got doubts about these people in charge already. So, as you say, if it prolongs, it's going to get toxic again. We've seen how toxic it got with Martin. We can't be having that again in the club because it does affect the players. And I'm not giving the players an excuse for that, but it affects
players
the
are
top
going
to
to
bottom.
murder, but some of the players shouldn't be in the Rangers first team squad, never mind the starting 11, mate. Some of them shouldn't be even in the building, and I don't mean to be rude or disrespectful, because obviously they've all got something about them because they're professional footballers. Yeah, but we've got the boy Mikey Moore's meant to have great potential. We're not seeing it. He's come into a bad team and they've not been fair. The young left back, we're not being fair to him neither. They would be dropped. If they were our academy players, they'd be dropped and sent back to the academy for development when we had a decent team. But brought in Max Aarons in loan, who must be absolutely stinking if he can't get in that team. But there you go, that's 5 loanees. What have they brought at the party? Who's brought them in and who's sanctioned them, mate? It's just, and then they're starting the problem. Anyway, your Jim's joined us. Evening, Jim. How are you, mate?
I am good, fine.
Well, speak up.
How's
Man. We
life,
can't
everyone?
hear you.
How's life, everyone?
Not bad, mate. Yourself?
I am doing fine.
Aye. What's on your mind, mate?
The manager.
Right.
The Rangers manager.
Carry on.
The Rangers manager. A lot of people are saying that he's too young. I've been reading a lot about him being too young and not experienced enough. I was looking at Souness. Right, Graham Souness came in to manage Rangers.
34, I think. 34.
Aye, younger. Absolutely. He was younger. But he had 7 seasons at Liverpool. He won 5 league championships, 3 European Cups, 4 League Cups. Right? So, this is a guy that, like, the respect for Souness was just out of this world. Right? And even when he left Liverpool, he went to Sampdoria, and he won the Coppa Italia against Milan. The first time that Sampdoria won the Coppa Italia in Italy, you know, before he even joined Rangers, and he played in the World Cup as well. You know, so I'm trying to make a kind of comparison here with like guys that come in to manage Rangers and the respect that they have and the type of people that they are. And I know that Danny Rowe has been sent in charge of Germany and, you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, I just don't know. Rangers have just gone to kind of the dregs, to be honest. And I've been a supporter since 1971, 72. And the players that have been brought in, I'm just finding it really, really hard to kind of fathom why.
Can we blame Danny Rowe for the players we've brought in, mate?
What's that?
I mean, I think McCoy's made the point in commentary tonight, mate. If you're the best coach, best manager in the world, he said he didn't think you could make a team out of the group we've got, and I agree with him, mate. No, I don't think.
No, and I totally agree. I totally agree with that. See when you look at Chernity had 2 or 3 chances tonight, maybe even 3 or 4. He was static, and I think I came on a few weeks back, and I made the point that I was watching an English game, and it was Haaland, and the ball in the game that I was watching was in the midfield, and it went from left to right in the midfield, and it went back to defenders, it went back to the goalie, and you look at Haaland, and he was running left, right, and centre. He was going to the D. He was going to the penalty spot. He was dragging defenders left, right, and centre. He was actually like making the defenders knackered with the way that he was running, even though he had no intention of getting a pass. He was just running constantly and running defenders into the ground. And then you look at Trinity and the European games that he's played. His feet are static. He doesn't move.
No, I don't think you're being fair. I don't think you're being fair in Trinity. His feet weren't static today. He kept falling.
But he wasn't fast enough. He was dead slow.
No, he spent more time falling, mate. He kept falling. I don't know if you noticed that, Robert.
Aye,
I just think he was dead slow.
He tries to win fouls too, and it's just, like I said,
He
it's show me,
kept
bullied.
falling.
He's bullied off the ball far too easy. For being a guy his stature, he gets pushed off the ball far too easy.
Yeah, he was stinking, Jim. Yeah, I agree.
It was just dead slow. He didn't have any fight about him. He seemed to be just pushed off the ball dead easy. I don't know. You know, it's like I was watching like a couple of videos a couple of nights ago with Duncan Ferguson, and big Duncan Ferguson was like bashing guys left, right, and centre, and he was pushing and running, and you know, and Trinity just looks like a wee boy, you know, and 10 million for a guy that hasn't scored a goal for 2 years. Come on, man. You know, it's like that amount of money. That amount of money that we spent on Trinity, we could have got Shankland, and we could have got McBurney, who was on a free. McBurney has been scoring goals for free for Hull, and this is a guy that would die to play for Rangers. Absolutely die to play for Rangers.
All right, cheers, mate. Cheers. Listen, just one of your reception staff wants me to have a word with you. Do you know that you phoned them 20 times during the first half of the football?
I know. I'm just so angry. Sorry, I'm just so angry.
The show doesn't start till it starts, yeah.
You know what,
Robert, in you come.
Aye, listen, Jim, you make some good points there, mate. And what I will say is Danny Rowe's just in the door, and we said it on the show already, mate. We can't judge him on the night's performance one bit at all.
I'm not judging him.
Jim, don't talk when somebody else is talking, mate. Yeah, carry on, Robert.
Sorry.
He's had one or two training sessions. He can't get his point across that quickly for these players that have regressed so much in very short space of time, remarkably and astoundingly they have. But what I will say is, it doesn't matter if he's 36 or 56. You look at the Brighton manager just now, he's 31. And you look what he's doing. So the age doesn't come into it for me. But the reason we're in the position we're in is all down to recruitment. Commissioned by Kevin Thelwell, the scouting department, whoever they all may be, that find these players, identify these players. But at the end of the day, the final decision lies with Kevin Thelwell. We're sitting bottom of the Europa League. 3 years ago, almost 4, we were in a Europa League final. Now we're at the bottom of that table. It just shows you how much we've regressed, and it's down to the quality that we've got on the park. And ultimately, Danny Rowe, his hands are tied until at least January to make use of what he's got, and it's down to him to show his credentials and his knowledge of the game with these players. But at the end of the day, it's the players that step over the white line. They've got to cut the mustard. If they don't, we need to try and get them out the door. Simple as that. But they'll sit pretty on their wages, and they'll take the pay, and they'll see their contracts out. They won't be the first players, and they won't be the last. But every single reason that we're in the position we're in is down to recruitment.
But been joined by Mark, even the Mark.
Okay. I don't have any issue. I don't have any issue with Danny Rowe. He's just in the door.
Mark, in you come, mate.
Yeah, disenfranchised, Doc. That's probably the word I've got for you. Like I personally, I'm younger than you boys, but I'm old enough to remember the sort of good days. I remember the good days in 9 in a row, and I don't recognise it now, Ox, honestly. Like Danny Rowe, I wish him absolutely all the best. He's absolutely getting my support, but it's a tough task he's got, to be fair to the boy. He's just in, and to be honest with you, Ox, I've watched Russell Martin all season, and that's probably one of the worst watches. That in Bruges has been the worst watches, I think. That was absolutely a Russell Martin side, playing Russell Martin tactics. Ox, I ask you one question. If Walter Smith took over that team right now, do you think he'd be playing those tactics, Ox? Or do you think he'd be doing a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1? And that's basically the tools you've got to work with. You've got to work with these tools, and what we've got is a bunch of blunt instruments here, I'm afraid to say. And there's no fight in that team. There's no dig. There's no spirit. So you've got to do what Gio does: keep the zero, build from the back. And
what was the first thing Walter done when he came back? What was his first two signings? Can you remember?
On the second time?
Yes.
Aye, Davy Weir, Kevin Thompson.
I think it might have been the big centre half Ekiog.
Oh, Ekiog, yeah, Ekiog as well. Aye, but that's what. Yeah, absolutely. Big strapping lads, bit of fight, knowledge, know how to play the game. You can't score when the ball's in the stand. You know, that team's not got it. We played a 4-3-3 again there, and we just get ripped apart.
I thought he played a 4-4-2, mate. We Asgard trying to link up with Dimitri. Yeah, when Billy mentioned that last night, that's what I thought his tactics were.
Like, regardless, like, see that the big boy up front. I could tell you 20 SPL players that are better than him, honestly. And you've made the point, fair play to you earlier on the show, about that young boy in the youth team. I forget his name myself, but yeah, he's probably better than him. And same with that Enciala. You know, you look across that back line, all four of them are gone at the end of the season. There's no structure there. You know, you could get Gogic from St Mirren. You know, the Hearts fullbacks. There's just we are so far off it. It is untrue. There's no fight. There's no desire. And unfortunately, we still think we can go and play 4-3-3 and play silky football. We are not there. We need to turn this and, you know, get the basics right. Be solid at the back. And, you know, try and, have big guys that will win you the game. We are so far off this. We're 36 out of 36 in the Europa League. It's embarrassing. That's like disenfranchised. Like, my biggest problem is, see Danny Rowe, he's a brilliant assistant manager. And do you know what he is, Ox? He's an assistant manager here at Rangers. The manager's Kevin Felwell. Like, he is the Steven Gerrard. And we've got the Michael Beale. We've got Michael Beale here, a 36-year-old Michael Beale. Is just signed to lead the team and do the training and that. Kevin Felwell's running the show here. And my biggest problem is, see these owners, this American guy, he's too gullible. But I lived in America for quite a few years, and see Americans, Ox, take a wee yellow card here, a soft one, but it's BS and bravado. That's what it is. I don't think that guy's close enough to know BS and bravado when it's there. And that's how he thought Felwell's the man. He thought Russell Martin was the man. And, clearly, I think, see what it is. See Steven Gerrard, see Kevin Muscat, they're managers, Ox, right? And the reason Felwell didn't want a manager at the club is because he wants to play manager, right? And that's why we've ended up with a 36-year-old that he wanted at this club. And he'll do his best, and I'm sure he's a good guy, and he'll get a turn, and he'll have a good 18 months at Rangers, then he'll go and sign for Schalke or something like that. But he's no the answer. I'll tell you, I'd rather have Barry Ferguson in that club, because at least he'd stand up to these guys. Do you think if you turn round to Barry and goes, Barry, I'm going to sign you a boy from Everton worth £8 million that's no scored in 2 years, what do you think he'd say to you? He'd say, go and get me Shankland. Exactly. Go and get me Shankland. So, disenfranchised, mate. Like, I'll never lose my fight in that, but it's not Rangers, Ox. See, this is a shell of our former selves.
Yeah, well said.
And they're no Rangers players of quality, mate. And I don't know if you heard this, Matt. By the way, great points you make. Would you agree with that, Robert? Yeah? Yeah, great points you make. But what about, before you come on, mate, we were saying, how can you let this recruitment team go and recruit again? And the front man, if you like, the lead singer in the recruitment team, whether you like it or not, was Kevin Thirlwell. And yesterday he came out and he was public and he talked about Dimitri. Look, no offence to the boy, don't know him personally. He doesn't look like a football player. He doesn't look like a star turn. yeah, you're no signing Harlan, but you're expecting something that's better when you've got or anything you've got. He ain't better than Josh Jennings, mate, and that's the reality of it. And Robert,
Yeah,
No,
lads.
This
Lads,
is the Vodafone voicemail service for 07766831344.
Carry
Please
on,
leave a
Robert.
message after the tone. When you
What I
finish
was
recording,
gonna say,
please
Ox,
hang
was
up or press the
you've
hash
got
key for more.
to meet you in, right, to replace Iggyman who didn't want to play for us anymore. That's fine. Dessers, aye, arguably it was time to shake hands, move on with the age in his contract. I get it. But see, looking at it now, 100% you'd have Dessers in there all day long over Chimitri. And I get it. It was time to move on. But at recruitment, it's baffling. I mean, Mark's mentioned a few players there that we could have got from within this league and elsewhere. And aye, arguably they could have come in and done a job because you base them on what you've seen at their clubs and their performances. I've said it off air a couple of times, Ox, and I'll say it here now. Chimitri gives me Umar Sadiq vibes. If you remember Umar Sadiq, tall striker who just kept falling over the ball and brought nothing to the table. And I fear that's what's going to be with Chimitri. I hope he proves us wrong. I hope he goes and kicks on. But from what we've seen in such a short space of time, there's no evidence to say that he's going to be the main guy for Rangers to lead us forward. Miovski looks the shitty player he was at Aberdeen. He's kicked on a few years. We thought he'd come in, the guy that knows the league. We've not given him a service, but he's not doing himself any favours either. He looks a yard short of pace, if not more. And it's just a whole disconnect between all the players. And again, you can put that down to the last regime. It's not going to fix itself overnight. We appreciate that, we understand it. But we can only critique what we see. And these players aren't up to their standards or expectations.
Lads, can I just I need to head off and go to my work, but can I just say something about food? And I know it's going to sound really stupid, but when I was about 18 or 19, I tasted pizza for the first time, and then a couple of years later, I had a beef curry from a Chinese restaurant, and then later on, I went to an Indian restaurant and I had chicken tikka. And I thought all that stuff was brilliant. And as I went on through year after year after year, I tasted all sorts of stuff, sushi and everything else. Right? So when you get to my age, when you're like 60, hitting on 70-year-old, people offer you stuff like food and whatever else, and you think, no, I've tasted it, I know what it is. When you get a 26-year-old who is a head of recruitment, and when you get a manager coming in at that age, they've not tasted anything. That's my point. Simple.
Maybe not ready, mate. And by the way, the boy might be the best his boy might be good at his job, but it just doesn't pass the sniff test. Cheers, Jim. Enjoy your work, brother.
Aye, all the best, everybody. And listen, I only want the best for Rangers. You know,
I've been asked to ask you, Jim. I've been asked to ask you what time you go to your bed in the morning.
What time do I go to my bed in the morning? Probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock, right. And I only have about 6-7 hours sleep.
Because the guy you phone 20 times a night's going to get you back around about that time. You all right?
Listen, I never phoned him 20 times. I phoned him about 4 or 5, and you know what? I actually phoned him. He said he was in Luton and he was in a bar in Luton. And do you know what? I'm on lots and lots of forums on YouTube, and I actually thought I was phoning Super Scoreboard. And the reason I was phoning him was because Super Scoreboard was live. It started at 7 o'clock, and there was all sorts of stuff going on. And I was phoning and thinking,
I've just been sent his call log, mate. I've just been sent his call log. Right, you enjoy your work, brother, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
Listen, all the best. It wasn't 20 times. It was probably about 7 or 8 at the most. All right, take care.
19,
Bye.
19, I believe it was, mate. 19. 13 times. 13 times exactly. I've just read it. Cheers, mate. Poor old school player. Mark, I can't argue. I can't put up a defence or turn it round or say anything against what you've seen, mate. Yeah.
Oh, Jim.
You know,
Jim. We're on the night shift, Jim. We're on the night shift tonight. I tell you, I think Jim needs a curry and a strong Cobra, Ox. Listen, Ox. See if I was your man, the American tonight. Know what I'd do right after the game, like right about now? I'd pop Felwell. I would sack Felwell tonight for that display. That's got to be on Felwell, that one, Ox. Sack him now. Sack him tonight. Sack Stewart. Sack Felwell tonight, Ox.
Right, we've been joined by Cal. Evening, Cal. How we doing, bro?
Pretty bleak, I'll tell you the truth, Ox. I've never seen a Rangers team like this. What? It was diabolical. I'll tell you what. We all wanted a rebuild in the summer, didn't we? But I've never seen a house get knocked down to build a conservatory. You know what I mean?
I think we're in a caravan.
Food analogies. Food analogies. And you're in the building game. I get it, mate. I get it. Where do we go? You're right. All the mistakes that we made, it's awful. And we're talking yesterday, the executive team are talking, they think we've got good players and they're just not showing it. Well, we've all been on this planet for a wee while. I think we recognise good players when we see them, Cal, and we don't see anything there, do we?
I think so, Ox. Hey, I mean, I'm too old for walking football. I could maybe play with a crutch now or something, you know, but Asgard, he's a jogger. Asgard's a jogger. He's a luxury player that we can't afford.
He wouldn't even get in Jim 115's football team.
He scored a lovely goal at the weekend, Ox, right? It reminded me of Dad and Purcell goal, funny enough, you know, but apart from that, he can do his hair up all fancy, he can get tattoos, he can do what he wants, but he's a jogger. I watched him tonight, he just jogs about the park. I can't understand it. With your team, I cannot understand it. I can't get a grip of it. This new boy that's come in as a manager, he might be 36. That's nothing to do with it. You see players playing in Champions League at 17. You know what I mean? You can't go, because of your age, you've no experience. It's not to do with that. It's the tools you've got to work with. You don't put them back in the drawer. You're never going to sell them, put it that way.
Hi, your Jim's joined us. Jim, in you come, mate.
Good evening. I know Nanny should be surprised by that tonight, but I'll tell you, man, that tonight was worse than Bruges. That was worse than Bruges. Unbelievable. I know the guy's been in the door 2 minutes, but wow, man. Captain Courageous again. I heard you saying there about he was at fault for the first goal. Go and have a look at his positioning when the ball get played out wide at the third goal. He's standing 2 yards. 2 yards behind the defensive line, playing the guy on when the ball get put out wide. Again, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
It was poor tonight, mate. Poor tonight, along with a lot of others. And see when the game started, Jim, and made that sort of 5-10 minutes when we rocked it about all right. I was worried about the left side of the defence, and I don't think that's the answer. But the right side of the defence with the two experienced pros there was worse. And there you go. It shows you a little I know, really.
I thought when they broke on us at the first goal, we're shape was all over the place. I know we're not having a point at Tav where Tav was away. All right, he was further pushed up the park. But the wee left back, it's been caught 10 yards inside their half. And when the guy slips the ball in, Nico Raskin is the nearest man to the left back position. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Basics. What you're saying is basics, Jim, yeah?
Aye, basics, right. I heard you saying there, by the way, when he got a game in the walking into a football team, you're right, wouldn't he?
I just seen you sneak that in there, that's how I threw it in, mate.
Look, I knew it was getting popped in there. Aye, hello.
Asgard's got ability,
wow, man.
right? We've seen it. We've seen touches and glimpses, but you can't play at that pace. You can't play at that pace. You know what I mean? Robert?
Asgard's been discussed a lot in this show over recent weeks with what he's brought to the table, and apart from his goal at the weekend, there's not been much And a lot can be said for other players as well. Ant-Man, we've mentioned there on the show as well. Defensively, not brought anything. Suter puts his body in the line at times, but his distribution of the ball is poor. The way he comes out with the ball is poor. He gets into no man's land. He's caught out. It's a total mess, Ox. It's an absolute mess. And I've just got a question. I know we've spoke quite a bit about the recruitment and Kevin Thelwell and the way we're in because of his decisions to go and get these players ultimately to make the deals for these guys. It's not the first time we've operated with a director of football. We've had Mark Allen, Ross Wilson, Nils Cotton, and now Kevin Thelwell. I just want to know, would you rather operate with or without a director of football?
You asking me, mate, or the panel?
Everybody.
Don't ask me, Ox.
At least you're honest, Carl. I would rather. I think a manager should live and die with his selection and his recruitment. So the manager, for me, coach, whatever you want to call him, should have the ultimate sanction. I think the director of football says, look, we can get these 3 left backs, but these are the ones that fit the budget and who are available. Who do you want? I think the manager, as intimated yesterday, should always have the final say, in my opinion. So if they disappear, somebody's got to do the recruitment. You can call them whatever name you want. Somebody's got to present the players to the manager. I don't think you'll ever go back to a day when a manager goes to somebody's house and makes a deal. I think the days are gone. So you need somebody doing that kind of role. And the one we've got this now, fail, and maybe Gasserman, it says, could do better. That's about it, mate. Mark?
I, Ox, 100% agree. So it's the wrong way around now. Honestly, men's football is the wrong way around. The manager reports to the technical director. It should be the opposite way about. The technical director should report to the manager. The men's first team manager should be the top position, reporting to Andrew Kavanagh. He should be the guy running the show, making all the critical decisions that support that team and the effectiveness of that team. Like, I'm honest, I struggle with like women's football and things like that, right? I honestly think that's a sideshow, personally. I'd rather Rangers was just 100% focused, firstly on the men's team, secondly on the under-21s, and then thirdly on the women's team. And I think we're trying to just, go too far to keep everyone pleased. And what happens is we end up where we are, where we're diluted and ineffective. Whereas if you look at like a St Mirren or a Hearts, I guarantee you they're just fully focused on that men's team, and look at the results they're getting. And like I say, ultimately it's got to be the manager that carries the can, and we need a proper manager. Our most successful times were with a Souness and a Smith and an Advocat and a McLeish, proper managers. Like that's what I'm saying. Kevin Thelwell's playing as manager, and what we've got now is an assistant manager actually coaching the team, and it's broken. That is never going to work at a club like Glasgow Rangers. We need to break that, and it needs to be the manager reporting to Kavanagh.
Jim?
I think the names that you mentioned there and this character now, I think it's totally different from the way the other guys work to this crackpot, because I feel he's dictating now. He's the one dictating now what's actually happening and who we are signing. I've no doubt whatsoever that's what's been going on there. Davy Moyes went back into Everton, and I believe that he was ran out of the club because Davy Moyes went back to the good old days of I'll be picking the players. And am I right in saying that's why he was moved away from Everton? Or did he leave prior to it? But I think the other guys that you mentioned there, the ones that worked under Gerrard and the rest, I think the guys were maybe totally different, and I think the manager still had a say. I think the manager maybe identified them, they went and get them. But I think this character's identifying, and that's what we're dealing with, because that's the way the club master plan is. By the way, I'd like Kavanagh to come riding back in with his 2 Charltons again after that performance tonight and see if he still comes out with the same comments he made the other night there, how they were doing such a super job. No doing such a super job in the eyes of the fans, that's all I can say. That tonight was just unacceptable.
You're only as good as your last game, Jim. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I heard you know a bad one in your last game. That's what I'm hearing in the match report I'm getting. But you could do better, mate.
Aye, that's always the case.
Yeah, you know I've got my spies there watching you. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I know that, brother.
Yeah, right, okay. Listen, it's time for a tune, so if you don't mind, I will go to the tune. Get yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune. Mark, don't you go, mate. I want to ask you something, yeah? Get yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Quite poignant, that's tune right. Listen, Smurthways, but I'll ask you the question, Mark, if you don't mind, mate, yeah?
Yep.
Because it's unusual to have somebody articulate, intelligent on here. Would you agree with that, Jim, Robert, and myself, yeah? Smurthways, but I'll ask you the question.
I'm from Rocky Oak.
Somebody's got to tell him. Right, somebody's got to tell him. I think it's Carl. Yeah. Carl. Would you agree with that, Jim, Robert, and myself, yeah? Carl, turn the show off. Oh, he's gone. I had to drop you, Carl, because you'd shown it. Where does Danny Rowe start with us? Where does he start?
For me, if he's a smart man, just build from the back. Like this isn't working, and this is unrecognisable as Rangers. 4-5-1, 5-4-1. You've just got.
How does he change it then with the personnel, mate? Who does he bring in? What's his team then? Because it's not as if you've got a centre half sitting on the bench that you say is going to come on and improve that team.
There's got to be Ox. There's got to be someone at the club that's actually got a bit of fighting desire. To be honest, like you've just got to look for your actual, your hard men. Start from the back. What he's probably going to have to do in reality, like I said at the start of the call, is work his way through to January with minimal casualties, and then sign like hard men. He should just sign 4 hard men from the SPL as the back 4. I'd have Gogic here tomorrow. Honestly, I'd have Gogic here tomorrow. Let's say Hearts full back. There's many more. You would just what we're doing right now is, you know, flogging the dead donkey, as they say, because see that back 4 that's in there. There's 2 of them on loan, so they're gone at the end of the season. You've got Suter and Tav that are gone at the end of the season. They've not got the fight in them. I mean, Suter's a Scottish international, but he's a quiet boy from Elgin, you know. He's not what I would consider a Rangers centre half, like a Butcher or a Goff or a Moore or an Amoruso or someone like that that's really going to own the pitch and command the back line. You know, we need to bring in guys like that. They don't have to be the best technical footballers in the world, but actually steady at the back. You know, I'd probably, to try and answer your question, you'd maybe just go with your biggest back 4 or back 5, you know, and make us sound at the back. And, you know, you'd like to think if you played like a Miovski up front with an Ant-Man, they can get you a goal. But I honestly think it's even broken up front. There's too much space between them all. The formation is just not going to work with these players.
There's nothing working, mate. The defence
That's what I'm saying. It's not working. I honestly think 5-4-1 Ox. Genuinely, I think it's 5-4-1 back 3.
Mate.
Aye.
Fair answer,
And,
Mark. Listen, Smurf, get it off your chest, mate.
Hi, Ox. Hi, everybody. Well, for a start, the game itself, I had a feeling that was going to happen. And really, I don't know. I was thinking about Danny Rowe, you know. I see people say, oh, they're going to learn about the players. He's going to know who he'll want to go forward with. Everybody that's on loan needs to get back, and they need to stay where they're going. Right? And then you've got Tav out of contract. He's not getting a contract, and no disrespect to him, because I think it's not his fault that he came to Rangers under the circumstances of the club at the time, which is there's a duality there, because if the Rangers hadn't been in that state, they would never have signed him. But I think history will be kind to him, but party's over. There's nobody in defence at all that you would keep. You look at midfield, Raskin's bought his ticket, doesn't want to be there. The other boy can't play around 60 minutes. You know, you've got the boy for Aberdeen, the boy for Dundee. You know, they're industrious and they're full of running, but probably not good enough. Asgard, I don't know. He's in the ring movie. He needs to be in a league where you get 40 minutes on the ball to make a decision. And he's always on his heels. The big boy Chermiti, they need to come out and own it and say, and you know, say it was maybe not even saying it, they just need to get rid of him. Who's not good enough? That's fairly obvious. I don't think it's fair in Ant-Man. Everything he's come into, you know, he's produced in a far, far more stringent league than ours. So you don't become a bad player overnight. And you've got the gas man who's obviously showed glimpses of being a player. So with all that, point being, there was a restructuring and investment in the club, which was going to strengthen the club. And Rangers have brought money in and spent good money. And they are light years away from a team that got to the quarterfinals of Europa League last season. Light years. And
it's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental.
And another thing is, so I look at that Andrew Kavanagh, right? Now, I don't think that he's clearly not a fool. You're not a multi-billionaire because you're a clown. But I said on here months ago, he's had the pants pulled out of his eyes with Elwell. And he has. I think he probably knows it if you read between the lines of the conversations, you know, the interviews. I think Thelwell's got to go. He's got to go.
I don't think you're alone. I don't think you're alone in thinking that, mate. He's a busted flush. The
He's a
problem
busted
I've got,
flush.
and I'll bring Robert in, Smurf, because I don't disagree with you. And the point we made earlier, and Robert made it better than me, was the fact is, how do you let him be involved in the recruitment for the next stage, mate? You have no confidence. That's the point you're making, Smurf.
No, exactly. Oh, you can't say, well, here's another £8 million of my money. See if you can get somebody worse.
Robert?
You say it, Ox. You can't trust this recruitment phase again come January, because what we've got in the park now is what we've got to work with. And at this point in time, it's not good enough, individually or collectively. And you can't trust the same guy that's produced that quality onto your pitch to go and solve it, because there's nothing being solved. We've had to replace a manager within 4 months. We've had to now deal with the players we've got. We've still got players that are coming to the end of their contract, down in tools, no interest, want their moves elsewhere. There's no desire to fight for the badge anymore from any one of the players. Butland's got pass marks for me this season so far because he's kept us in games, particularly European games. He's kept scorelines down, except from the Bruges game. But again, down to 10 men. The quality that night was poor. The quality tonight is poor. Domestically, poor. You can see the trend here. And you're saying, where can Rowe start? Rowe can't start until Kevin Thelwell is no longer in that position. That's my opinion, Ox. Danny Rowe cannot start with the team he's got. You can sit here all night, talk about tactics, whether it's 4-5-1, 3-5-2, 4-2-3-1, whatever. It's the same players you've got to deal with until at least January. And you can't have faith in this guy to go and get better players than what we've got, because we've let better players go. Smurf's right, we brought in good money. We've spent good money, but we've spent it on crap. Honest opinion, Ox.
You're not hearing an argument for me. Jim?
Can I maybe highlight something? And I know what we're saying there about the recruitment and whatever else. I brought up last night about Jack Butland's comments, and I don't know if any of you have seen Tav's comments after the game tonight. It's again, to me, well, he's come out and says you want it to sink in with some players, but it just isn't at the minute. To me, that's highlighting what Jack Butland's been saying. And he then followed it on with a comment of disgraceful performance. I'm raging. I know we boot him and all the rest of it, but he puts himself up there to be shot, even though we don't think he's good or whatever. But to me, that just is highlighting again what Jack Butland came out and said at the weekend there. There's something far wrong with this group of players, and it needs to be addressed now. By the way, and I know a lot of people have said that some of these loan players need to go back. Maybe they do need to go back.
Jim, can I come in there though? But Tav sets the standards. He wears the armband and he's the captain, and the standards he sets is not good enough. Like, he is part of the problem. He honestly is, and I agree with what Smurf said. I'll, in 10 years' time, think about the best days of Tav and what a player he was. But that's what he was. For the last 2 seasons, he has been part of the problem. And he's the guy coming
his legs
out
have
there.
gone, Matt.
And,
his legs have gone, mate,
yeah, but he's the guy setting the standards. He's the captain. And he's not setting the right standard. And he's too accepting of a poor standard. I think it's probably more my problem with it. What age was Davy Weir when he was a captain? He was probably 39, 40. You know, his legs had gone up, but he was unaccepting of poor standards. And I just don't think that they're calling it out anymore. Like, you've got to hold the highest standards at Rangers, and there's no way what we are seeing is anywhere close to acceptable. And honestly, like I said it earlier, I don't know if you've heard me or not, but I would sack Farewell tonight. I would sack Stewart tonight. And I'd bring that's on them tonight. Tonight is on them. And I'd bring in Ferguson, I'd bring in Weir. Whatever way round that is as CEO and technical director. And we've got to set off again in the right foot in January, because see Danny Rowe He's going to try and play tunes with whatever he gets, but it's not going to be good enough. And we need astute Rangers men that understand Scottish football and the standards expected at this club to bring in players that are capable of performing what we need them to do on the pitch. And until we change Farewell and Stewart, that will not happen.
I think we've been joined by Josh. Evening, Josh.
Hi, guys, you alright?
Evening, mate.
No, not really, mate.
Ninies are happy. Another abysmal performance, but you know what? I think these three players have came and bit us in the bum. Sherney, Ingeman and Dessers. 63 goals out the team, and that's our downfall. They've not been replaced. They've been replaced by the two Muppets up at the where did they sit up at with the Muppet Show? No, they two old guys. That's what they two Muppets up front are. Shermiti and Miowski. They'll never be Rangers class. That Shermiti is miles and miles off it. If that was Dessers, that 1-on-1 header, free header in the first half, that down in the back of the net, and Deegaman, absolutely. It's a guy that's lacked confidence, and we're paid over the coal for a dud. As for Miowski, the jury's out on him and all. It's just, but what can we do? We just need to wait to January and rip the team up. There's just far too many mistakes. No communicating. Cornelius should have shouted at Raskin for the third goal. Leave it and I'll clear it.
Mate. He might have been screaming at him. We don't know that, mate.
It's just embarrassing to watch. I feel sorry for the guys that are paying their hard-earned cash, going to see the team, and getting performances like that. It's just sad to see.
There's a way of getting beaten now. You know, there's a way. And that's not what, mate, because that was spineless. When we were 1-2 at half time, I'm thinking this team on the great shakes. You know, I would have broken Cornelius on there for the left back, and I'm not blaming everything on him. I think the young boy's gone. I think his confidence shot. I think it's too much for him, and you could have changed that others as well. It wouldn't have been on loan. But the performance just got worse and worse and worse. And let's be honest, and I'll bring in Robert, then Smurf can come in. They didn't do a lot. But we were just abject. Robert, then Smurf.
No, Ox, you're right. I said it at the start of the show, mate. Again, we've been beat comfortably off the park, bullied by a bang average side. Now, on paper, the three teams that we've played, you would look at that and say, any other season, we'd have 9 points out of 9. And we haven't. There are 3 games that you should be winning. Now, no disrespect to the teams we've played, but we're Rangers. We shouldn't be getting dominated by these 3 teams that we've played in Europe so far. And every one of them has played us off the park. Arguably could have been a lot more goals conceded. I mean, Genk, how many chances did we give them? Bang average side. Brann, Norwegian team. You saying the Norwegian standard's better than the Scottish standard? Right now, based on after his performance, it is. But what I'm saying, Ox, is it's 3 games that Rangers Football Club in Europe should be winning, and it's not. And that's down to what quality we've got on the park. I'm saying it over and over again. We've regressed so much. We're sitting bottom of the Europa League table, and we deserve to be based on what we're producing. It all comes back to recruitment, but regardless, we're stuck with these players till January minimum. But I said it before, not one bit of player has took pride or responsibility playing for your badge. Not one.
Smurf?
I just think she just trying to think of something different to say, isn't he? All comes down to recruitment. I mean, the wee boy Magoma, he had no bad game, right? not bad. Wasn't the worst player, I would say. You know, it was all the right hand side where all the damage was done. But you're looking at him when he starts and you're thinking, in poor Rangers teams in the past, had he been a Rangers player, it would never have been brought in and loan in the first place, but it would have been a Rangers player. He would have been drip fed into the team. He'd have been put in, paying out, couple of games, 45 minutes there, 30 minutes there, you know, coming on as a sub, and you get playing some lesser lights, maybe in a League Cup game or something, you might get a run out, and you'd build his confidence up. He's the only left back we've got. So, and he's 18-year-old. So if you think about it, see if the team we've brought him for had a right goodging that would days a turn, you wouldn't contemplate sending him to Rangers. Rangers are in danger of sending some of these boys back broken, confidence shattered a lot. I think they need to go. A lot of these go back in January and try and find alternative players. I don't know what the answer is because January's a notoriously difficult market. Danny Rowe, I think people are thinking, well, we need to get to January. We don't. We need to get to the end of the season. January's not really going to solve anything. I think what's going to happen is we're going to need to get to the end of the season and we're going to need to see that clown Thelwell and his boy sacked. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he comes back for this. I mean,
he's gone.
He's had two sort of interviews in the last few weeks. The one at the last international break when he said that Martin's the hardest working coach that he's seen. And the one he said yesterday when he asked about
he's a good player. Oh, dear me.
These things are going to bite him constantly, mate.
You've got a guy who's a self-made multi-billionaire who's employing him, right? That guy already knows he's a clown. He just can't. He's brought in a CEO and then a head of football, right? And then he's answered difficult questions about him hiring his boy and the nepotism there. Or it didn't get past me. There was no getting past me. It was authorised it. So he's going to answer all these awkward questions and basically blag his way through that interview. And he's get rid of the manager, right? And we've got a new guy we've replaced. He can't go and rip it all up. He's got to manage. He's got to manage us to the end of the season. He's got to find replacements, shoveled, ready. He gets the Dan Mack, the next guy comes in. And he'll be working in the background. It's going to be, he can't be that daft. He can't be that naive.
Yeah, I like to think so. Anyway, we've been joined by Billy. Evening, Billy.
Evening, Ox. How's it going, lads? Good evening, everybody.
By the way, you got the formation right.
Aye. Listen, I wish I was ringing. I go to the formation ringing when we go to the victory, Ox. You know what I mean? I take no pleasure for that. Listen, I've been listening to callers all night. Everybody's been banging on the money, mate. It's great to see that the support, instead of the support being divided, everybody's all singing off a song sheet and can see what's blatantly right in front of our noses. Now, I mean, obviously, I've not got any input at Rangers and that. I'm just one of the people seeing it for the sidelines and that, guys. But you can obviously hear by the tone in my voice that I'm not very happy. This is easy rectified, this problem. It's easy rectified. It's so simple. If this director of football scenario, right, if he's getting the final say on the players and this is constantly no working, now I can't keep banging. I feel what I feel like, guys. I feel like I'm like an old record, an old stock record. I keep banging on and banging on and banging on about this. If this director of football scenario is going to work, ultimately, the manager or the coach, whatever you want to call them, must have the final say on the footballers both coming into the club and going out the club. Because if history has told us anything, lads, it has clearly not worked since Steven Gerrard under this director of football. So if these two American owners are as clever and as business astute as they say they are, they've got to look back into the CV Glasgow Rangers and say, well, where was it going wrong? And how was it going wrong? What part of that department was going wrong? How can we tighten that department up and make it better? And it's as blatant, as obvious as the nose in the end of your face. So you say to yourself, well, do you know what? See, if I was Kavanagh, I'd be chapping his door in the morning saying, listen, this is what I'm going to do with you. See your director of football role. You can keep that job if you let the manager have the final say on the players, because you are not doing your job correctly. Because if you were doing your job correctly, you'd be bringing in the proper footballers to get to the coach or the manager. Farewell would be as well sitting in that dugout, guys, and he'd be as well good taking the training, because that's his input to that team. So you take that responsibility away from him and get to the manager. And any Rangers football team in our illustrious history has all been built on the manager having the final say. And we've changed all that. Now, I'm not saying you're not to hear a director of football to oversee things. Of course you have. You've got to hear it. You can't shirk all that responsibility on the manager or the coach's back. I totally understand that. But that decision within that occupation has got to change. And if it doesn't change, which it doesn't seem likely it's going to change, we've got to begin running in circles after circles after circles, and it's got to snowball and snowball and snowball. And it's happening again. Nae him to the manager or the coach, Danny Rowe. Nae him to him. I'm not going to start getting on his back. It wasn't his fault. But I'll tell you, see when that second goal went in the night and all, I said to your Billy, I went, I wonder, son, I wonder what the mentality of the players will be when they come out in the second half. The mentality of the players, their confidence has been shot to pieces. Absolutely shot to pieces. And that's me being kind to them, by the way. So don't think I'm backing the players. You know, Ox?
No.
But that's got to change, buddy. That decision and that director of football has got to change, mate.
I've got a different view, and a slightly different view, Billy. I just think that the guy's got himself. You make mistakes, right? You're in a hole, and to keep Kevin Farwell, we're starting to keep digging that hole. His role is not to sign the players. He's to make deals and all that, but ultimately he's responsible for recruitment. And they've come up with say they come up with 3 left backs, hypothetically, Billy. The manager, right? Who can we get? Him, and him within the budget. We can't get him. Because there'll always be players that all clubs want. They can't get, right? I accept that. But he's brought in these players and sanctioned this structure and brought in these boys, mate, when we needed men. We all knew that. We didn't need boys, we needed men. And this guy's been culpable for all the errors right through. Centre forward for Everton, bringing in Martin, the recruitment, some of the pre-season wasn't his fault because that was all laid out before the thing. Everything fair then, it's just in a hole. These last 2 performances in the press, try to stick up for things that's happened. Russell Martin said he's one of the best coaches he's ever seen. Wow. Then yesterday, Dimitri saying sticking up from. We watched him, Billy. Your eyes don't lie. If that was a young boy coming out of the reserves, we'd be saying he's not ready, and we've spent all that money. He's miles off it. Yeah, and what is this? The second most expensive signing I've ever had, plus with the wages and tapping that, mate. It's mental, mate. The guy's toxic.
Yeah,
toxic, mate. We've got to move on, mate. And it's not going to be good for our club because we can't let this group of people recruit again because it's just going to be a cluster F. Mark, and you come, mate.
Alex, I've got to disagree with you a wee bit there, right? Felwell is in charge of football. He is the guy that's accountable for football, so he's in charge of Russell Martin. He's in charge of the new man, Danny Rowe, right? He's in charge of football, right? Patrick Stewart's in charge of the business. you know what I'd do, Ox? I'd pot Farewell tonight, right? Let Danny Roll coach the team through the next month, and then I'd bring in Kevin Muscat. Because you know what? Danny Roll's a really good assistant manager, Ox. I ain't made a manager. I'd pot Farewell, and I'd put Muscat or Gerrard or a proper manager in charge of football. And that's what I would do. I would bring them in November, ahead of the transfer window, because I wouldn't trust that Farewell with a single penny of my money. And see, to try and look back to your question, I'd stick that Chermiti back to centre-back, because he's not a striker in a million years for me. Like I said, I think you could get 10 SPL strikers that are better than him. That boy he's never in a million years good enough to be Rangers number 9 in centre forward. And honestly, until that boy Danny Rowe must realise we need to be sound as a unit to get anything from this team. It has to be 5-4-1 or 4-5-1 and move as a unit and do short passes and move forward together kind of deal. Until we do something like that, it's never going to change the pitch. This 4-3-3 with the talent we've got is never going to work because they're not fighting for each other. See these boys on this pitch, that's not a team. That's just a bunch of well-paid individuals. And all they're doing is protecting themselves rather than playing for the team. And what we need to get is people that are playing for the team in order and play as a team in order to win. That's the problem we've got right now. And like I said, Danny Rowe, nice guy, came in with a nice smile, good haircut, nice beard. Do you know what Walter Smith would tell him? He'd tell him, get your haircut and shave your beard if you're going to be a manager of Rangers. I want Muscat. Honestly, get in Muscat, pot Farewell, bring in Muscat or Gerrard in November. That's my view.
I think that's highly unlikely, but I get your sense. And my concern is we're going to be left with people on our books for years again, taking millions out of our club and affecting us because of the errors we've made. The damage we've done in 4 months is just frightening, Jim, isn't it? Frightening. And the problem is with us, what's happening and people, you've got to a stage where I don't think we can afford to keep Farewell. Because I think as long as he's at the club, there's going to be even more apathy. And then there's going to be the interest in the strips and all the sponsored packages and people buying tickets for certain games. You know, we've got a decent game against Roma coming up. The interest is going to be in that, really. You know, it's really become a bounce game for us. And people might not buy tickets for it, might not get sponsored packages. These guys are costing us millions. And Caruana and Marag, mate, they've got to wake up and then realise what they've done. You've made a mistake. You've made a whole mistake with the people you brought in the summer, and you're going to have to rectify it. And maybe the argument that I don't know who made it, that people understand their club have got to be there. Maybe that's the answer. You get it, because Farewell doesn't understand it, let's be honest. He doesn't understand it. Patrick Stewart doesn't understand it. He might be a Scotsman. Doesn't mean he understands your club. Jim?
You're 100% right. And see, with the last couple of calls I've said there, they've basically just backed up what Tav said. There's people within that group of players don't get it. And if don't get it is they're not trying or they're just not good enough, then so be it. But it's exactly what Butland and Tav are saying. They don't get it. There's no connection to Rangers. There's no pull. They're just a pound sign in their pocket, whether they're on loan or whether they're signed for us. The boys don't get it. They don't get it.
Aye, but Tav doesn't get it. That's the problem. He sets the standards. He wears the armband. Raskin's more of a captain than Tav.
You keep saying that Tav doesn't get it. I don't believe that for 1 minute, mate. I think you're talking absolute bunkum there, mate, when you're saying Tav doesn't get it. I do not believe that for 1 minute. The guy doesn't get it.
Well, how many years has Tav been at the club and how many titles have we won?
How many titles? Is that all Tav's fault? Is that all Tav's fault?
No, it's not all Tav's fault. Like is it all Tav's fault? No, it's not all Tav's fault, but he wears the band and he sets the standards.
Oh, right, so Tav sets the standards, mate.
Then.
Here's a question for you, Mark. How many titles did John Gregg win between 64 and 75?
I don't know, Ox. I'll need to put that one down to experience, mate. I can't argue with that
Do
one.
do you know the answer?
No, I don't, mate.
Name.
Done.
Well, there you go.
Greatest ever Ranger.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if
Anyway,
that's fact or not, honestly, but yeah.
That is fact.
That is fact, mate. That is fact.
Aye, but what?
Yeah.
See, can I just come in and up? See what you're saying there, right? Tav signed when we were in the lower leagues, and then he come up, and when he came up, there was the issues with Warburton and Dave King, and they had to live through all that nonsense. And then there was another nonsense manager for Portugal, Teixeira. He had to endure all that. That's not Taft's fault. And then Gerrard came in. And Gerrard came in and stated that he was the best right back in the league. And he made him his captain. Right? And then Gerrard took 3 years, was given 3 years, and on a shoestring built a team that won a league and also went to a European final. And
That's right, and then we should have
investing,
sold Tav.
instead of investing on top of that, and as Gerrard said, you know, fix the roof while the sun's shining. They didn't invest. None of that's Tav's fault. Steve Tav didn't get it. He's got no allegiance to your club. The boys for Leeds, right? He could have got his move. He's had offers. And maybe not the offers that people think he's had, has been always reported, but he's had opportunities to leave and he's no went. And at the end of the day, I think the guy's to be admired. He stuck by Rangers. Rangers were good for him and he was good for Rangers. History will be kind to James Tavernier. He can't defend, but his stats and poor teams don't.
But what I will say, Smurf, playing devil's advocate here a wee bit, mate, right? I agree with you, and I'm in Jim's camp, slightly disagree with Mark, right? But what I will say is, I think physically in the last 18 months, Tav
he's declined the force.
And
of course.
Maybe, yeah. Billy, in you come, mate, and then we'll go.
Sorry, lads, can I just jump in for a second and just say, lads, I'm very disappointed and we'll need to learn from this the next time. That's all I've heard for the last 5 years since the end of the COVID season. That's what it is, and we should have told them then. And the thing is, like, we're going down the rabbit hole on Tav, right? He's not the problem, honestly, because Max Aarons came in, who was meant to be his replacement, and he can't even lace his shoes, and that's the damning indictment of where we're at.
And who brought Max Aarons in? And you come, Billy.
Aye, listen, I'm with a caller on this one a wee bit too. Listen, James Tavernier, he's always going to divide opinion. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is at Rangers. He's always got to divide opinion. You've got to have people that like him, you've got to have people that don't like him. It's simple as that. It doesn't matter. And listen, he'll not be the first and he'll not be the last. You know what I mean? But you can look at the good and the bad and the pros and the cons of James Tavernier, like, you know. And Smurf and yourself, Ox, you're right, and so's the caller. But we need to call it how we see it, guys. You know, Tavernier was great going forward. He scored a lot of important goals for his career. He played in a lot of poor Rangers teams. Totally get that as well, right? He scored big goals in Europe for us when it mattered. We get that and all. We applaud him for that. But when you look at the other flip side of the coin, his defensive duties are terrible. And when you look at the trophies he's won for his tenure at Rangers, and nearly 9 or 10 years, he's not really set a head on fire. And people will say this and people will say that. Well, I've got one for you, right? You're talking about financial suicide here, right? James Tavernier cost us £250,000. That's how much he cost us, remember. How much has he cost us in wages in 10 years? Because it'll be a lot more than 250 grand, Docs.
I would take a punt and say about 12 million, mate.
Well, there you go then. There you go. Now, is that Right, so right, okay then, mate. So right, so say 12 million quid. We'll just use that an example as for the boy, right? Is that acceptable for a Glasgow Rangers captain or a footballer trophy-wise? Because see, that was me. I'd be wanting to win more trophies for that. Would you know?
I know, but you've got to put it in context that maybe Kemar Roof took about 6 million out of a club, and that I'm speculating again.
Him it went off. He fell in a soft park at Hampden and hurt his shoulder, and then was out for 6 months with a fault hamstring. That Kemar Roof.
But you know what that mud wrestling's like. You've done a bit of
Oh,
mud
I
wrestling
know.
in your time, mate.
But lads, my biggest problem with it is Groundhog Day, right? Who's our top goal scorer this season? It's Tav. We're still in the same movie. It's Tav again. We're still in the same movie in 2025, going into 26. Tav's the top goal scorer, and I have nothing against the guy, genuinely. Nothing against him. Honestly, he's a good guy. He should just not be captain. He would be an excellent team player for Rangers. He should not wear the band. It should be on Raskin.
So who should be the captain?
We need a
of
guy with a
Rangers?
mentality. We need a guy with a winning mentality. It should be on someone more like Raskin. It needs to be someone more like that.
Rangers? Raskin, does he want to be at Rangers? Wants a move. How can you
How
give a
do you
guy
know
the
that?
captaincy of your club that
I
doesn't
know.
want to be there?
I know.
How do you know that, mate, for a fact?
He'll be away.
Everybody knows it for a fact. They've come out and said it.
Let's be honest.
But he's come out and says he wants a move.
You're probably right. I think he did. He did, because at the start he did say he wanted to play in the Prem.
And by the
That's
way,
what he said.
If he doesn't sign the contract, we've got to actually punt him in January
Mm,
and get the
that's right.
maximise. We're going to need the money in. Anyway, by the way, it's amazing. By the way, the night I thought Tav was awful, along with others, and the guys that were there, Butland, Suter, Tavernier, Raskin, that was the guys that started the game who were there before in previous occasion. I'll take Butland out of the equation, even though he lost 3 goals. They 3 outfield players tonight, every one of them. Don't know what you think, Robert. I think they were all stinking, along with others. We didn't have a guy on that part tonight who get past marks. Yeah, and it's not the first time. And there's something wrong. There's something amiss, something afoot, because this is a long time. This has happened for the with different managers, different groups of players, and maybe Mark's right. Maybe it's Tav maybe no being having a leadership role would maybe help, but it's all going to come to an end the next summer because he's not going to get an extension in his contract. I don't think so. Everybody's culpable, and the players, their effort, their desire, their fitness. What about Rothwell's fitness, Robert? It's disgraceful.
Yeah, it is, mate. You can't last over an hour. He's shown a bit of pace the last couple of games, but that's because he's not playing a full 90-minute game. So he's got more energy going into the next game than he has from any other player who maybe completes a 90 minutes. But that's a guy that's in your engine room. They're meant to be going back and forward all day long. Jim will know playing the game in midfield position as well. If you're not working in there, not operating, you're not affecting the game. You're affecting it poorly, to be honest with you, because you'll tire. You'll not be able to complete runs, complete passes. You'll be lethargic. So your engine room, your playmakers, the ones that put your fit in, tackle, drive forward, defend. If that doesn't work, then the whole chain, the whole clog just breaks down. Just got touched on Tav briefly. I know we'll try and move on from it a wee bit, but see, every time we've had a new manager or a new head coach, whatever title you give them, it's always the same debate and discussion. Will they change the captaincy? Look at all the managers he's had, and not once has that been changed. So every manager that's came in has thought, no, I'm happy with Tav staying captain. I'm happy with Tav staying captain. It's never changed. And arguably, has there been anybody that could take it off him? I know Mark's saying there Raskin. Raskin threw his toys at the pram recently. We don't know what happened behind the scenes, but it didn't look good. We'll never be privy to conversations that happened. Is that somebody you want being a leader? Arguably yes, arguably no. But could you name somebody else in recent seasons who could have took the captaincy? I don't think he could. But just because he's got one league title doesn't mean he doesn't get it. I think the longevity proves he's got it.
See,
Aye,
can I
he's
come in
away
on?
from the camera.
See,
Wait a
really
minute,
good
Rob,
Rangers
but-
team. Sorry,
Let Robert finish, mate, and I'll bring you in.
I thought he
Go,
would.
Robert.
So I thought he was.
Sorry, Smurf. Jim said it doesn't. Tav doesn't shy away. I'll be honest. I'll disagree with you, Jim, because there's how many defeats have we saw that Tav's never come out to the media, particularly when he's had a bad performance himself and he knows it, and he's never faced his critiques. So he does hide away in that aspect. He doesn't stand up and be accounted for. But Connor Goldson came out with a quote years ago and said that this football club will not miss James Tavernier until he's gone with what he's brought. Aye, he should have more successful trophies and a better kind of history with the club with what he's got. But you can't take away his commitment to what he's brought to the club. Yes, he's got his flaws, but so does every other player.
And you come, Smurf.
See, at the end of the day, right? See if you think the Rangers teams in the past, the captain gets his leg broke or what Butcher did, right? There was 10 other guys that could have been the captain. Do you know what I mean? There's no one guy. People are mentioning Raskin. Russell Martin came out and said, he said he seen phone calls direct to him and all that. Came out in the media and said it. Plain as day. The boys want away for Rangers. At the end of the day, he's no a Rangers captain. And you can't think of one player that could step up with that reach and take that role. There's not even players that you wouldn't consider for the captaincy that set the tone on the pitch. See, when I think of journeyman players, a guy like played 8 million for Chermiti, you telling me you wouldn't play Simon Murray at Dundee ahead of him? I would, because he sets a tone. He's got an attitude.
Chick Murray ahead of him, mate.
but the point is, he sets a tone. He's got a certain attitude. Their attributes, a great attitude, regardless of ability, is a fantastic attribute to have. A winning mentality, fighting, endeavour, industry, running hard. Everybody talks about how great a player Wayne Rooney was and all the rest of it, ability-wise. Nobody worked harder on the football pitch than Wayne Rooney. You put him in midfield, he'd be the best midfielder. Do you know what I mean? He was a hard working player. Rangers don't work hard enough. And that's down to attitude. So see players that don't work hard enough, none of them can be the captain. And nobody can tell me that anybody in that Rangers team works harder than James Tavernier, because they don't. And I'm not a Tav fan, but they've never been able to replace him. All I'm saying is, right across the board, they bring people in who are hard-working, loads of endeavour, etc., that set the tone. And on top of that, if they've got a bit of ability, great, and you can add to it. It's a squad game. You can't win anything with wins. You can't go through the course. We've went out and signed wee boys, and they all need to get back. They all need to get away home to their mammies. They're no good to us at Rangers. None of them. None of them.
I can't believe who thought that was a good idea, Jim. Young men at home. The centre forward, Mikey Moore, mate. It's nearly half a team. The wages you'll be paying them will be, between the four of them, will be more than some of the SPL budgets. I just don't know who thought it was a good idea. Collectively, it's just so wrong, and that's what worries me about the Americans. I think Mark made the point they're getting their trousers pulled, and there's some basics here, and they're getting kitted on, and we can all see it. Everybody's basically, there's maybe bits and pieces where I'd slightly disagree with, but 90%, maybe even 95%, we can all see it, and that's pretty unusual, Jim. You know what I mean?
I would say about 99% of the support can see it, and yet they can't. But see, like you're saying that they're bringing in all these young boys and all that. This fits this thing that they're trying to kind of bring me to the club, i.e., get them young, sell them, bring more young ones in, sell them. But see, unless you've got the success along with that's not going to happen at your football team. It's never going to work unless you've got the success on the back of it. I mean, it's again, I know I'm harping back. Butland and Tav came out tonight and said again, there's ones in that squad And I think we could all go around and point them out who the ones are. They don't get it, and they just don't care. Sadly. They think they're really big boys because they can run up the road for doing the road. Sorry, Smurf. On you go, pal.
Oh, it was me, Jim. Sorry, it's Billy. Just to touch on Mikey Moore. It's all right, Mucker. It's all right. Just to touch on Mikey Moore, right? Now, I don't know what the loan deal is there, what the Plava is, a hint at what the deal is, right? But I'll tell you what, one thing I do know is, right? See if I was Mikey Moore's agent in Tottenham Hotspur under this current situation at Rangers, I would be cutting his loan deal short in January and taking that laddie back to Tottenham. Because I'll tell you something right now, if Tottenham don't watch what they're doing here, they've got to ruin that laddie, because he'll get ruined at Rangers.
Well, Mikey Moore's got a lovely touch, Billy. But we brought in another boy in the forward area. It can't run.
Fuck, I know, Ox. Listen, I've seen that for day one with this big fella up front. You know what I mean?
And then
he's heavy.
We brought in another
Sorry,
one.
only go, mate.
We brought in another one, that man, that can run, but he can't take the ball with him.
I don't know what's wrong with Ant-Man. I just don't. I don't know how that guy can go in and turn it on for his country.
Probably he
because
played it left wing back. He played it left wing back. The game he done all right.
Well, he's obviously, first and foremost, Ox, he's obviously playing with a better standard of football at international level round about him, you know, and then look what he's playing at Rangers. So, but I remember he asked me who did I fancy at the start of the season, and I said that laddie, right, because I'd seen him, right. That laddie's a better football player than he's shown, and he didn't get me wrong. He's super slow. I mean, we talk about Bailey Rice being slow. You know what I mean? He makes Bailey Rice out to be a 100-metre sprinter. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's his style. I don't know if that's his style, Ox, or he's just, that's the type of football player he is. But he needs to show more effort-wise in games. You know, he's always wanting that wee extra touch, and you know, I don't know if he's just not up to speed yet. He's still trying to get to grips with the game. I don't know what it is. I can't. Well, he'll be the only person to put his finger on it, but he needs to really start getting the legs going a lot more. You know what I mean? Because for what we're seeing, for what we're getting, it's absolutely nothing we're getting off him. You know.
You wouldn't get that time at the Rangers Radio 5-a-sides.
You're right there. You're right there. You know, do you know another thing I noticed tonight as well, right? Do you know we've no got at the back? We're talking, I agree with 100%. We're needing two centre halves, big commanding. Brisbane's been screaming about it for long enough. We're needing a big voices at the back here. Big commanding, dominant centre halves, clockers, get the earnings going, and when things are not going right, they can.
What did we do? We brought a boy from Wales that's hardly played again.
Aye, that's right. We need a Cameron infants there, mate. You know, that's what we need. I mean, shoot. Oh, see that goal tonight, right? See when Tavernier gets soaked in, he was away, he got caught to position, the boy was out on the left-hand side. Shooter's got to have more awareness at the back here, right? He's looking right, he sees, he's standing that halfway line. He can see every single thing in front of him, both left and right, and he knows that boy's in the left-hand side, and he knows that Tavernier's got out of position. But does he not just step out for and play the boy outside? Just step out.
Common sense, Billy. Too much common sense. That will never catch on, mate. Never catch on. Robert?
Aye, Ox, I was going to come in there, mate. Nils Cotman made a statement when he was here at the club, and he said that the English football market was not a suitable market to shop in for our club, for our standards. How right could he well be if we are sitting saying Giga, Magoma, Chermiti, Moore haven't got what it takes to be at our club? How right could he well be? And
Ascar,
they're saying that
Aarons, Rothwell.
Aye. There's that market, mate, is where we're predominantly shopped. Now we're saying Mikey Moore. If these guys were at our club, they'd be in the academy, they would be nowhere near the first team. And you can prove that. Finlay Curtis is nowhere further behind or down the road than Mikey Moore is. And he's sitting on the bench. If we're developing players, why are we not developing our own and somebody else? As Billy said, we could ruin Mikey Moore. He's got potential, no doubt about it. But currently, his confidence is shot. He's not playing well individually. The team he's at isn't playing well. So why are we trying to improve him than not improving our own, the likes of Curtis?
Again, that common sense will never catch on. Right, we're going to wind up now, so we're going to get last words. Mark, you've been the star of the night, mate. Yeah, give us your last thoughts, mate.
No, it's sickening, to be honest with you, Ox. I've just got to call it as it is. I watched Division 3. I watched Ali McCoist, Lee McCulloch and Lee Wallace. And I've seen way more heart, fight and spirit in that team than I did in the team tonight. And that's pretty much where I'm at. There's zero fight. There's zero Rangers men, as it sort of said. If I look at the centre back positions, there's Suter, who's just not a Rangers player for me, and then the low knee tonight. You couldn't tell me a Rocky Bashiri and a Gogic would do any worse. You just need to sign a load of hard men from the SPL for that
Rocky
back four to make that effective. Aye, exactly, yeah. And for me, the boy, it's his first game, the new manager or head coach or whatever the hell we're calling him, Danny Rowe. He needs to learn very quickly Walter Smith 101. He needs to go 5-4-1-4-5-1 and play defensively and break teams down and stay as a unit, because he has not got individuals that are capable of performing in that jersey. He's just not, and will be broken apart if we depend on individuals. And let me walk a few more points. I'd sack Felwell tonight. He needs to go. Sack Felwell tonight. Sack Stewart tonight. And I'd bring in proper Rangers men, whether that be Barry Ferguson, a Duncan Ferguson. It's got to be someone of that ilk that can actually call people, because one of the points was made that Andrew Kavanagh is getting the wool pulled over his eyes. He has got chancers at the helm here.
I don't know who we would get to do the CEO, mate, but between all the businessmen that are connected with our club, I don't know if they've got the skill set to do it. We need a different brand. But Patrick Stewart has been part of the decision making since last October, and it's been one bad decision after another, mate. One bad decision after another. So I get your point.
I've seen enough to know this is wrong, right? And we can't allow this to go through another transfer window. Not a chance. Yeah. So we need to pot them through tonight.
All right, mate.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, mate. All. Cheers.
Well, Josh, last word, mate. Quite right, but we'll get you back in.
Who's that, mate?
On you go. Last word, Josh.
I fell asleep with that last guy talking a load of shite.
No.
Well,
you don't fall asleep when you're talking, Davey.
Sack this, sack that, sack this, sack that, sack this, sack that. Tavernier this, Tavernier that. Tavernier is one of the most loyalist players Rangers history. It's not his fault that we have been mismanaged by a load of clowns of managers, and we've missed the boat of strengthening our team. So don't blame Tav. Tav is an easy scapegoat for the support. Anything that happens, it's James Tavernier's fault. Look, Butland, he's messed up quite a lot of times and cost us games. Does he get it down the throat? No. But it's always Tav this, Tav that, Tav and that thing. I love Tav. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a good player, and I don't think he talks about us behind his back either.
Josh, phone in tomorrow night with that point. Last word. I've got my work on Monday. Last word, Josh.
Thanks for having me. Ox, as always. Cheers, boys.
Phone in, mate. We can debate it another time, just that we're running out of time.
I will. Cheers, pal. Cheers.
Billy boy.
I thought I could talk, Ox.
talk.
Good. Oh, listen. Oh, listen. All the
I'm
Bears
the
are off
king
the
of the
skate.
talkers.
All the Bears are off the skate. Everybody's great, man. You know, we're all wearing their hearts on our sleeve. That's the difference, you know.
Can I ask you something, Billy? Just one quick question. Yes or no answer. I know you struggle with that. Were you surprised at that performance tonight? Yes or no?
No.
Neither was that. Carry on.
Aye. Listen, it's just time to button down the hatches, isn't it? Button down the hatches, but listen, the only thing, everybody's on the same song sheet and all. These two Chartlands have need to go. Farewell out and Stuart out the club. They've got to go. They've got to go because they keep staying. Nothing's got to change. So, listen, people, thanks for taking my call. Button down the hatches and never forget it, boys. No surrender.
I think the thing about it is, mate, they became toxic and they become the story, like politicians, but behind the scenes, man, once you become the story, it's only going to end one way, and it's no good setup, and it's no good for the club, chopping and changing all these people, but I don't know what the answer is. Smurf, last word, brah.
Dana Bridgeman there. Listen, I want to say good night, Ox, and thanks for having me.
Cheers, brother. Jim.
Great show again. Sadly, same circumstances, and we're all talking about the same things. You say there, are you surprised? No. No and I would say no and I thought we might have got a tune out of tonight, but wow, man.
I think you watched that second half and Saturday, mate. It showed you where we are, mate. If you're honest, it doesn't give me any pleasure when I say that. Robert, last word for you, mate. Thanks for doing the show with us, brah.
Cheers for having me, mate. Disappointing performance, disappointing result, of course, but a good show, mate. Good, passionate discussions. A lot of callers with some good, valid points. We're all hurting, mate. And that's ultimately what it's going to be at the end of it. If things don't change, we've had one change with Martin out and roll in. Other changes need to happen because at the end of the day, if this continues, it's only us, the supporters, that are going to be hurting. Cheers for having me, mate.
My problem is that the selection team who've gone forward for players, how can you have any confidence in them? We go to the 3rd of January and say we've got a new centre midfield player for, I don't know, X, Y or Z. What would you be thinking? Well, here we go again. Yeah, we've heard this movie before. Yeah, we need a fresh approach, and it's busted quicker than I ever imagined it would, Robert. And it doesn't give me any pleasure in saying that, mate. And I don't even know if it helps us getting rid of the people in the whole picture, but I think they became that toxic. I don't know if I've any choice. It's mental. What we've done in months, weeks, days, mental. Listen, thanks to everybody that called in tonight. I know we're all hot. Thanks to Robert and Jim for popping in and doing the show. Thanks to Fox and all schoolboys for doing the technicals, and thanks to all that Rangers support who made their trip to that to Norway. And if they players had anything about them, they dig into their wallets and refund all the people their money, because what they put on show tonight was absolutely shocking. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow night debating all things Rangers, and it's going to be interesting. Take it away, all schoolboy.